Chapter 11. How to Write Your Book Quickly. Quote, "You will never plow a field if you only turn it over in your mind." End quote. Irish proverb. If you've made it to this chapter, then you have a good understanding of how a short book works as a marketing asset within the OBMM funnel. You should also, by now, have a few ideas about what you want your book to be, and you are ready for the writing process. Important note: if you are planning on having someone else write your book for you, skip to Chapter 13, where I share my method for getting books out fast with a little help from professionals. Otherwise, keep reading if you plan to write your entire book yourself. Now, the first thing I want to say very quickly before we dive too deep into the tactics of how to create a book is to remember that people are not purchasing this book to read for pleasure. Therefore, the goal of you writing this book is not to be eloquent, and it is not to entertain. The goal of this book is to convince someone that you are, in fact, the person who can help them. Therefore, the main goal of your writing should be to be as concise, as clear, and as straightforward as possible. It is the ideas contained in your book that will convince someone much more than the writing. Additionally, the average American reader only reads at the 8th grade level. Luckily for us, most human beings only speak at the 8th grade level. Therefore, after having been a professional writer for more than 13 years, I would recommend that you do not try to sit down and type your book, but in fact, to speak your book out loud. The book you are reading right now was not typed or written in the traditional sense. It was spoken using a method that I have used to produce thousands of words per day for more than a decade. It is the same process that I've personally used to build a side income as a self-published fiction author, writing Western-inspired murder mysteries, which generates more than $500,000 per year in sales. It is the same method that I use to produce books for my business as well. By speaking your book, you can focus on ideas more freely. You can take your recording device on a walk outside and enjoy the fresh air while you walk and talk your way to $1 million book. I've even written entire books lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. My first fictional series was written sitting on the floor while I played with my 4-month-old son. By speaking your book instead of writing it, you'll create the kind of content that your reader wants. Conversational, idea-driven work that helps them get results. There are plenty of other better books on the art of dictation, speaking your book, that I recommend you check out on Amazon. My personal favorite was from Kevin J. Anderson, titled On Being a Dictator, Using Dictation to be a Better Writer. For a more general overview of my own writing process, when I'm not getting help, here are the 7 steps I take to produce books quickly. Step number 1. Outline using note cards. I recommend that you get a pack of 3x5 note cards and jot down the chapter titles on the top of each note card. 1 chapter idea per note card. Underneath the chapter title, scribble out a few ideas of what concepts you might want to get across in your book. You should be able to hold a note card in your hand and see the chapter title with a few key points on what that chapter is supposed to contain. As you complete each note card, lay them on a table or on the floor in order so that you can see, from a 20,000-foot view, all of your ideas as they will appear in your book. If needed, move your note cards around to change order. Add note cards where gaps might appear in your overall outline. And don't stop this process until you are 100% satisfied with what you see before yourself. It will be tempting to start writing a chapter before you finish the note card outline process. Don't give in to the temptation. Ironically, it's a form of procrastination. When your brain is straining to put all the ideas together in a logical format, and it's getting out of its comfort zone, you'll be surprised by what kind of reasons it'll think up to do anything but continue outlining. You'll be using these note cards as the outline from which you will speak your book. So make sure you scribble enough notes on each card to be able to speak for 5 minutes on the topic. Don't try and stuff 30 minutes worth of content into a single chapter. Keep them as short as possible. To be honest, a few of the chapters in this book are too long, but I'm also tackling an impossibly large subject. I don't recommend your first book to be too overly complex. Instead, focus on high-value ideas and get your book done. Once you're happy with the full outline you created from the note cards, put them in a stack, in order, and tie them with a rubber band. You now have the core of your book. All you need to do next is to teach someone your chapters. Step number 2. Speak. Personally, whenever I am in book production mode, I carry my note card outline with me wherever I go, hence the rubber band, because you never know when you're going to have 10 or 15 minutes to speak your book. While it may seem obvious to some, let me give you a few pointers on how to overcome your shyness and get the words out of your brain as effortlessly as possible. 1. Speak normally. Don't try to type with your voice. Just talk. We're going to get someone else to help turn our language into a written voice. 2. You will say the wrong thing when you speak your book. Don't stop. Keep going. You might have to repeat things. You might have to circle back. That's totally fine. I've been doing this for 10 plus years and I still stumble, repeat myself, and stop 15 minutes in realizing I need to start over again sometimes. There's nothing wrong with any of that. Just focus on helping. 3. Don't give a speech. Don't try to talk a book. Don't do anything except pretend that you are explaining these ideas and concepts to a friend. If you are like me and enjoy walking outside, then pretend you've brought a friend with you and teach them the information you have on your note cards. If you can, actually teach your method to someone who will listen. A spouse, a coworker, someone on your team. The more you can teach, rather than worrying about writing, the better off your book will be. Again, people read this kind of nonfiction to get results, not to be entertained. So, teach. 4. Remember, at this stage of the book production process, your goal is to focus on the ideas, not the language itself. It's okay if new ideas pop up while you are speaking. Go with it. Make a note for later so you can tell your editor or your content assistant to make the appropriate transitions. More on that later. 5. Speak as clearly as possible, but don't go too slow. Your brain has 2 modes when writing. 1. Creative mode. 2. Editorial, critical mode. We don't want your editorial, critical brain sneaking in right now. It just ends up getting in the way. Instead, we want free-flowing ideas and fun to be happening. If you slow your voice down too much and start overthinking, it creates room for the critical voice to start ruining your work. The editorial, critical voice comes in when you delay the time between an idea and getting it out. It's like running from the hot tub into your house when there is snow on the ground. The longer you wait, the colder it gets. So the smart thing to do is just make a run for it, no matter how silly you look. The same is true when creating your book. Make a creative run for it. We'll sort out the mess from the good stuff later. Just speak. A word on the technology to use. I recommend using Rev.com. It can be downloaded as an app on your phone. It's not the cheapest transcription service, but it is the best. Your editor will appreciate the Rev.com transcription much more than any other service, such as Temi.com. Since your goal is to get your book done as quickly as possible, the time you'll save with a clean transcription from Rev.com will more than make up for whatever slight expense might be involved. I recommend you download the app onto your phone and speak directly into your phone using headphones, or just right into the phone microphone itself. If you're always packing your note card outlines like I recommend, then you'll be able to speak entire chapters while waiting in line, or doing the dishes, or during any downtime. It's amazing how many words you can get finished 5 or 10 minutes at a time. I write for a living, and I rarely have large blocks of time to get writing done. I'm always doing other things. Don't wait for your calendar to clear up to write your book. It's too important to wait for something that will never happen. Instead, squeeze it in by using your phone. I know you check it 50 times a day anyways. Use it for good now. And carrying the note cards around at all times. Step number 3. Set daily word count goals and do everything you can to achieve them. Quote, "The most important thing about art is to work. Nothing else matters except sitting down every day and trying." End quote. Steven Pressfield, The War of Art. The hardest part of writing a book is getting started. The second hardest part is doing it again tomorrow. There's a common pattern that occurs when first-time authors sit down to create. Day 1, filled with excitement, they speak their book for 2 hours straight. All their ideas are flowing. They are enjoying the process, and they are productive. Day 2, they read some of what they wrote the day before and feel a little discouraged. Am I really capable of making a good book? They only work on their book for an hour. The idea rush from yesterday starts to slow down. It's not as fun anymore. It feels like work. Day 3, they think, I need a break. I'll try again tomorrow. Self-doubt, the illusion of writing as an enjoyable activity, it's not, it's work. And the sudden lack of ideas fuels excuses. Day 4 through 30 is filled with starts and stops, starting over from scratch, throwing out perfectly good ideas from fear, and eventually chasing shiny object syndrome and jumping to a new tactic. Months later, they see an ad from someone who is successfully selling a book exactly like the idea they had. Kicking themselves, they say, "This time, I'm going to make it work." And the cycle starts all over. So, how do you get off that destructive loop? How do you prevent yourself from ever getting there in the first place? 1. Realize that writing is like all other kinds of work. Hard, uncomfortable, inconvenient, but totally worth it. Most of the authors who quit before their book is finished do so because they thought the writing was going to be fun. When it isn't, they bail, thinking something was wrong with them or their idea or the process. Nothing is wrong. That's just the nature of creating new stuff. Don't get me wrong, there are fun parts to writing. About 30% of the time that I'm writing for a living, I say to myself, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. The other 70% of the time, I'm complaining out loud to whoever will hear me. They just aren't paying me enough for this. The key, I've found, is to just treat it like anything else you do in your business, like taxes, marketing, whatever. It's just work that needs to get done. Sure, pour your heart into it. Make it the best you can. Love what you write. But don't expect it to be anything other than work, and you'll actually get it done. 2. Time block your writing-speaking sessions. Like a job, set hours for when you are going to try to do your writing-speaking. I don't recommend chunking out more than 30 minutes at first. Speaking ideas, writing, is a muscle. Think of it as training for a marathon. If you started your first day of training with a 4-hour run, you wouldn't be able to walk the next day. And as a result, you'd quit your training. The same goes for getting your book done. Start slow, start small, and build up. It won't take weeks, probably only a few days, and you'll be able to go on and on and on adding words to your book for hours at a time. But for now, keep your time blocks short. 3. Set word count goals. When Rev.com gives you your transcript back, use a free word counter online and track how many words you wrote. Based on the first 3-day average of how much you were able to complete, set daily word count goals. Don't try and set a goal number until you've written for at least 3 days in a row. Most people have no idea how long it takes to write 1,000 words. Everyone's speed is different. And the worst thing you can do for writing goals is to set a high number out of ignorance and keep falling short. Your self-confidence will crumble and the temptation to quit will be too great. 4. Track your daily word counts and maintain a 75% daily goal hit rate. What is measured can be improved. Getting an accurate reading of your progress is a good way to self-motivate. Knowing that a short book only needs to be around 15,000 to 25,000 words, you can reverse engineer how many words you'd like to hit per day in order to reach your own personal deadlines. If you want to finish a book in 10 days and you plan on it being exactly 100 pages, then shoot for writing 22,000 words at 2,200 words per day. Some days you'll do much more. The average person speaks 4,000 words an hour. And some days you'll miss by a wide mile. As long as you meet or succeed at your daily goal of 2,200 words per day 75% of the time, you'll very likely self-motivate and manage yourself to make up for those missed days and hit your target. I recommend using a spreadsheet to track all of this. 5. Celebrate hitting your goals. I think we spend a lot of time in society today celebrating non-achievement and ignoring our own actual achievement to our detriment. If you hit a word count for the day, do something fun. Treat yourself to your favorite show. If you hit it 3 days in a row, go wild and do something fun with your spouse. When you complete the full book, throw a party, splurge, and train your brain that setting goals and accomplishing them feels really, really good. I've written more than 5,000 words per day, 25,000 words per week, for more than 8 years professionally, just by following those 5 simple tips. Writing isn't rocket science, especially if you get help like I'll teach you later. Put in the time, show up every day, and sooner than you think, you'll have a finished book, which could be the cornerstone and foundation of a multi-million-dollar business. Step number 4. Get editing help. You should not be editing your own books. I would argue you shouldn't even be trying to clean the transcription you receive from Rev.com. Here's why. 80% of what will make people read your book and trust you as an expert who can help them are the ideas you presented. The information you provide, the frameworks you supply, and your sincere desire to fill your book with helpful tips are where 80% of your future sales for premium offers will come from. Less than 20%, I'd argue less than 5% of the results you desire from your book will come from how the sentences are written, whether there are typos and grammar errors, or what the formatting looks like. Yet proofreading and writing the perfect sentence is a big reason why many authors take months to release a short book, instead of just a few short weeks. I get it. Sincerely, I do. I also have those same tendencies to worry about things at the sentence level, to worry about the formatting, the design, whether the concept was ultra clear or not, etc. Instead, I recommend that you hire an editor who is willing to take the transcriptions you've received from Rev.com and clean them up, assemble into cohesive chapters, and eventually outsource everything else like formatting, proofreading, and the rest. If you want to get paid $100,000 per month, you are saying that you want your time to be worth at least $625 an hour, assuming 40 hours per week. I work just 2 days per week, so imagine how much I want my hourly rate to be. You can hire a really good editor on Upwork or Fiverr.com for $25 an hour to $50 an hour. You will never make $625 an hour if you are doing $25 an hour tasks. It's impossible. It doesn't make any sense that you'd be able to somehow bend the universe in a way where you'd have tricked the market into paying you $625 an hour while you are doing $25 an hour tasks. What's more, most editors are probably much better than you at writing good, clean sentences anyways. Why would you prevent yourself from growing and scaling by refusing to let someone else who will deliver you a better result do the work for you? Is it pride? Ego? Wanting to have artistic control? Let me share a little secret from an old-timer in the world of writing. No matter how much you nitpick, stress over, rewrite, or try to perfect your book, someone will complain. Someone will hate it. Someone will think you are the worst writer in the world. They will think your ideas are horrible. They will feel cheated out of $5. They will complain, no matter how hard you try to make it perfect. So just let someone else for $25 to $50 an hour polish, finalize, and get your book out the door. You supply the ideas through Rev.com and your ability to speak. Let go and let them finish it for you. Because if you are really trying to help people with your ideas and methods, then no matter how bad the formatting, no matter how horrible the sentence structure, no matter how many typos, someone will love it. Someone will think you are a genius. Someone will think your book was the best $5 investment they've ever made. They will send you thank you emails. At the end of the day, we are only trying to find a few people who are willing to work with us after reading the book. Let the professional editors nitpick your book, make the adjustments, and finish it for you. Let the professional formatters and designers make you something nice. Your job is to grow your business as quickly and efficiently as possible. You have a long list of more valuable things you could be doing with your time to get to that $625 per hour level income. So let people help you and see what kind of magic can happen. Step number 5, the story pass. Once the editor has returned a clean draft manuscript, go through that draft, adding stories and proof to back up your claims and assertions. Sometimes a good editor will help you do this already. If they don't, it's not a big deal. Just read through your book and ask yourself the following questions. 1. Can I illustrate this point better with a story? 2. Would the reader believe me more here if I told a true story about this in action? 3. Could I better keep the reader's attention with a story in trying to make my point here? You don't want to overthink this. It's not about turning your book into a personal memoir or forcing readers to sit through case studies when they bought the book for actual information. Instead, it's about enhancing understanding, proving your points, and engaging the reader through the power of story. For more on what story does to the brain, I recommend reading Wired for Story by Lisa Cron. Step number 6, the sidebar pass. Once you've completed adding story and case study proof to your book, go through it again. This time adding ideas and research that you might feel is necessary for overcoming objections that someone might have as they read your book. No matter how convinced you might be of the effectiveness of your methods in helping people, most people are skeptical. Remember, the whole point of implementing the One Book Millions method is to overcome that skepticism. So even though we've bolstered our ideas with stories already in the last pass-through of our work, now it's time to add more logical arguments to our book to drive the point home. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a section in your book about growing tomatoes in a soilless garden. Let's say that as you read the draft that you've received from your editor, you realize that some people will object to a certain method that you've used in explaining soil-free gardening. You don't need to write an entire chapter to overcome that objection. Instead, you can include a sidebar, which looks something like this. This is a sidebar. I can make an additional point, overcome an objection, or even call attention to something I want you to be aware of by adding just a few sentences or a few paragraphs to my chapter. This is a strong way to get the attention of your reader right where you want it. Think of the sidebar pass as the time that you judge your book for consistency, accuracy, and trying to get ahead of what the reader might object to. Depending on your follow-up email strategy and how you might convert readers into clients later on, you might even want to list out all the objections your reader might have after reading your book and make sure your book addresses those. For example, with the One Book Millions method book, I knew people might not be as confident about writing their first book as they ought to be. Their objection might sound like this. This all sounds great, Mike, but I hate writing. I'm not a writer. I see how a book could be helpful, but I just don't think I could ever sit down to write one myself. So instead of telling those people, cool, good luck, see ya, I added a section in the book, which you can read later, that addresses people who specifically want to outsource their entire OBMM short book. Do you see how thinking about what will trip people up at your teachings can actually improve your book? This is why I recommend running your sidebar pass on your draft before publishing. Step number 7, the strategic pass. This is my favorite run-through of a manuscript. Remember, the point of us creating this book was so that we could turn our readers into long-term customers and clients of our much more expensive premium offers. Our book only fails if a bunch of people read it and nobody wants to work with us afterwards. The strategic pass is where we look at opportunities within the text to link to or mention our other offers. This is where we insert calls to action to take the next step towards deepening the relationship, allowing us to serve more and eventually become a client or higher paying customer. Here's a piece of advice that my mentor gave me a long time ago that I want to impart to you regarding asking for the sale or inviting people to the next step. Whether you decide to write a book or not, no one will promote your stuff harder and better than you will. Don't be shy about giving shameless plugs throughout your book for the next step that your reader can take with you. If you've written your book correctly, with the intent to serve, then your reader will have experienced just enough of what you can offer to be ready for whatever comes next. Take this book for example. My hope is that I have given you enough information, ideas, and inspiration to want to take that next step. Whether that's writing a book yourself and having my team help you build a funnel, or whether that's letting us write your book for you, or whether that's just you wanting to buy our other books, programs, and courses. The starting point for all of that is this book. Making it obvious and apparent that you can help people to continue to receive results is critical to making this method work. You don't have to be spammy, and you don't have to use hardcore sales tactics. Simple invitations sprinkled throughout your chapters, casually mentioning what you do to help others, like I've done just a few sentences ago, and strong back matter CTAs, look to the back of this book for examples, are sufficient to fill your calendar and grow your back-end sales by a lot. For most, the next step for the reader is to book a call with you to discuss what else you can do for them. But sometimes the next step is to consume more training. Sometimes it's to buy a course that better prepares prospects to become a dream client. It could be subscribing to a podcast, consuming a YouTube video, or even sending you an email about what they thought of the book. Look at your current customer journey. What's the typical step-by-step process someone goes through in your business now to go from stranger to premium buyer? Could the book replace the first few steps? Is the book the new step one? Wherever it falls, make sure that you invite the reader to whatever the next step might be in your typical customer journey. For those of you unsure about exactly what to invite your reader to do, again, I always recommend the default book a call. You'd be surprised how much business you can do inside of the first 30 days of your book being sold 100 times per day, and simply inviting people to book a call with you. Speaking of which, how to get help. If you'd like my team and I to help you scale your business using the One Book Millions method you've read about here, please go to peacefulprofits.com/call to chat with one of our advisors. We've built over 37 OBMM funnels, managed more than $400,000 per month in ad spend, and have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs write and launch their first books, radically transforming their business for the better. We especially enjoy working with coaches, agencies, freelancers, consultants, and professional service providers. If that's you, we'd love to chat in a no-pressure environment to see what kind of results we could get you. Putting it all together. By following these 7 simple steps for producing a book quickly, you'll have no problem putting together an asset that serves the reader, sells you and your expertise, and gives you consistent and predictable prospects and sales. What's more, you'll be able to live the life of an author. You'll receive fan mail thanking you for providing insights and guidance. You'll have prospects reaching out and seeking you out as the one who can help them. And you'll even be invited to be a guest on podcasts, speak at seminars, and more. All of this could be yours if and only if you finish your book. That is step 1. The rest will come once the first has been accomplished. So, if you have to fight through your own demons, battle with procrastination, or just do the smart thing and hire help, do whatever you can to get your book finished. I promise it will change your life. Key chapter takeaways. The goal of this book is to convince someone that you are, in fact, the person who can help them. Therefore, the main goal of your writing should be to be as concise, as clear, and as straightforward as possible. By speaking your book, you can focus on ideas more freely. You can take your recording device on a walk outside and enjoy the fresh air while you walk and talk your way to $1 million book. Recommended book, On Being a Dictator, Using Dictation to be a Better Writer, by Kevin J. Anderson. The 7 steps I take to produce books quickly. Outline using note cards. Speak. Set daily word count goals and do everything you can to achieve them. Get editing help. The story pass. The sidebar pass. The strategic pass.